Yeah.
It's not perfect, but let's see if I can make this big. And then slideshow from the first slide. Ha! Okay. Hello, good morning. Svante Schubert, my name. I'm coming from Germany. I'm a freelancer. Freelancer, I find a typo. First one, I'm 1999, I started in Hamburg with StarOffice as a software developer for Sun Microsystems. And I worked on LibreOffice at that time, and with the XST feature, transform HTML, and I stick to standards. And currently I get my money by working on the electronic invoice standard, which is also XML. So I stick to the technology basic. And oh, yes. Hello. Yes, sorry. Doing karaoke all night that I wasn't aware that we do this continue. Okay. So as I said, living in Berlin, working on standards, still working on the ODF format. I had once a prototype fund to work on the ODF toolkit, and since then I joined the ODF-TC. And I'm a co-chair. But Patrick DeRusso, the other co-chair, is the original chair from the beginning. I'm very focused on making the standard digitalized, to make it machine readable, to generate something from it. That is my thing. All right, let me start. And there are three parts. What is the format? Easy. Second, it's a marketing thing, why it matters. And the last thing is about visionary, my perspective, what can we change? And it's just thought about today. So what is open document format? So when you work with LibreOffice, you type something in the document and you save it. And this document, this frozen state, is on the disk, is your save. It's the final state of the document. And it's a zip of XML. In the beginning, we had one large XML, Microsoft as well, and we still have this flat XML, we call it. But it turns out to cut it into pieces and zip it is size efficient. And that was at that time the problem. There are different types of formats. And it's an open standard. It's hard, some people claim an open standard. I go into detail here, but it's processed by the ODF-TC. What means ODF-TC? It's the ODF, Open Document Format, Technical Committee, where I'm a member of. And the purpose of this TC is to maintain this document format for the changing needs of an Office application. And that is need for interchange and collaboration. So there's something special. We have a birthday. ODF turned 20 this year. A week ago, OASIS posted that. And we also have, since 69 days ago, ODF 1.4 was approved as an open OASIS standard. So congratulations. Time flies when you're having fun. And what consists of it? So we have a grammar, which is like a grammar in your language. It's a grammar of XML. This grammar, it's called relaxant schemata. These are quite a lot of lines. Define all valid documents. Okay, so this is used by the validator to check if the document is correct. And if you the prose, the written, are about 1,000 pages, and there are three parts differentiated. One is about the package. It was once attempted, or the EPUB format used ODF 1.0, the same zip format, but then unfortunately they invented their own encryption, their own signature, and even PDF went their own way. So, but it was separated, so others might reuse it as well, but it didn't well went. I'm not sure what went wrong here, but I think communication problems. And the other thing, the most important, I believe, is the XML schema. It's a long list, and there I think we can do the most in the future. And the formula is being defined in the last part. And you can see the specification as ODT, EBT, HTML, or PDF, and HTMLs from my. First of all, this is the link. I pasted to you in this presentation. I very often go to this page, and there you can see all the files, and you can jump to the HTML and do a quick search on the questions you might have. Because the standard is the blueprint of LibreOffice in the end of the file format, and it's the first thing. Where's the bug? It's in this. Is it in the standard, or is it a missing feature, or is it in LibreOffice? And So why does the OpenDocument format matters? This is a bit marketing, and I certainly asked ChatGPT what she thinks about it, and generated a picture, but I took Lothar yesterday aside to double check it, because you never trust a large language model. But I find it quite well, yes, so it's the same thing. Let me guide you through it. So I think the most important thing is the digital sovereignty, and we discussed later, it's not a thing about, the digital sovereignty comes when you go not into the cloud. You stick to your own service, and you don't get your, let's say, all your data to the American companies, yes, which might result in problems. So, a good example, so you got full control, and you're able to stay independent. And without a file format, you aren't able to save it. You aren't able to have an interoperability. So, a good example is the Austrian military, which switched to LibreOffice, and there was a talk in Budapest, and I really loved it. He says, we don't do it for the money. We are aware that it costs us to switch, and we are aware that open source is not free. I mean, the source is free, but we need to maintain it. We need to put feature into it, and the developers need to live as well. So it's their way, because in the end, in the long run, they save money by putting things together. So that was very impressive. I think the most important thing is, but it's every open standard, interoperability, because it's a blueprint. Everybody, like a cooking recipe, everybody can cook the cake if the recipe is good enough, and if it's not underspecified. Yeah, you might have forgotten some recipe or something. Yeah, but it's improving, and personally, I believe ODF is the best in the market here, and so I got So an example here is the open standards, and that you are able to build tools upon. And one of the tools is this ODF toolkit, where most of it is generated. It's in Java, and we had it as a backend, or Open Exchange as well as a backend from the LibreOffice, because it's loading and saving documents, and you can edit them without the front end. It's just for the backend, yes. But it's mostly generated from the syntax, so it's encapsulating complexity. And this thing, long-time archiving, is coming from ChatGPT. I thought a lot about it, and I think it's right, because, so first, when I think about long-time archiving, I think of PDF-A. PDF-A means archiving, and it comes with some restrictions, like the fonts must be embedded, it's not allowed to have scripting, but thinking about it, we can do the same thing, and you just have to check it. And I don't think that every document has to have a font inside, but I believe you just make sure that you have aside of your documents all the fonts you're using, right? Otherwise, it's an overkill. Yeah, it might be relative to the files on your machine somewhere. Okay, but it's also important that it's an ISO standard, because I'm not sure if you're aware of ISO standard, the International Standardization Body everybody has in this country. In Europe, every standard have to be a CEN standard, every European standard, CEN, and above level is the ISO. And look, that's another thing, 1.3 becoming soon an ISO standard. It costs money. It's exactly the same what the semantic means, but it's an ISO thing that it costs money. It's a closed standard. It's a cartel. Don't get me going there. But you look worried, I am too. But it's another problem that we have to fix. But not me. You want to tell something? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think you meant to say that it costs money to download a copy of an ISO standard. There's also the process may cost all sorts of other money, but the point is that a lot of with ISO standards, you can't just download them online. You have to pay them.
Yes, we try to make it available for free, and I think we do it as well. It's possible. If it's not, the thing is, we develop it in OASIS, and then there's a fast track moving it up for ISO just for review. If you do it outside the work, you are able to apply that it's been made free. If you do it within, there's no chance. And it's the old way to selling paper. So, but it's important, ISO, because countries rely on that. Yes, and by law they are mandated. It's difficult. I don't go into that rabbit hole. Accessibility. Lothar, hello, did a very nice thing about it, and he showed me yesterday that Schleswig-Holstein sponsored something, an accessibility check. Look in the writer, and there are abilities that you have additional information for access for the blind first, so the blind reader can have additional information. Nevertheless, it has to be added there, right? And the common way to check it earlier there was I was always exporting the ODF to HTML because HTML has a lot of accessibility checkers. And then I checked it there because I transformed the data with. The same way, there are a lot of link checkers if the HTML are still valid for HTML, but they are no for ODF. So that's again a trick. Just use the export to HTML, check there the links, and then fix it in ODF. Okay, but yeah, it's not free lunch. You just have the ability to do it, but as with the archiving, there's extra work to do. And the validator is part of the ODF toolkit. It's using not only the XML validation, but also checking the zip if it's correct, and gives more or less meaningful explanations. Last but not least, not the last, second last, penultimate. We have a human-readable XML, right? And this is just to show you a Hello World example, italic and bold. I used I work for Sun, so I'm still working using the Java and the archive. I can open the ODT. I can open the content XML, and with the XML plugin, I can indent it, edit it, and save it directly with JEdit into the file again, which is quite handsome. So, and you see, here's Hello World, T1 is italic, and T2 is bold, right? So it's quite obvious. Still, there's a lot of things going on, right? I mean, let's say noise. We could reduce the noise maybe in the future, but this would be an incompatible change, let's say. So nevertheless, another way is the grammar I like to show, because this is relaxing. It's very easy, 20 pages. The XSD card specification has hundreds and it's unable to read. It's totally horrible, 300 pages. But XSD is so powerful, even more powerful, and very easy this tutorial to read. And the trick that we did is here you can click on it and you jump on it, because otherwise it's very hard to read and to find. But what you here see is that we have an Office body content, and now you see beyond Office body there can be a choice of text, drawing, presentation, spreadsheet, and depending on the document format you got. Okay, so it's very simple, right? It's multiple choice. It's like a regular expression. Yeah, relax engine comes from that, but it's very handy, very simple, very powerful. You would love it. Yes. So the youth might take a look into the tutorial, and just to show how easily you can look. And the last thing, very important, is the democratic process. It's just, I think, marketing, but nevertheless, it's very powerful. It's not an open standard alone. There's a very powerful open source software behind, yes, implementing it. And it's not only the format, you need to see the context. This is something that, with discussion here with Lothar, I realized, you don't, why is ODF important or is advanced? It's not only ODF alone. You see the major player is someone who takes it seriously, and it's fully open source. And this is very important also for accessibility, because if there's something broken, you still got the source code, right? You might be able to fix it yourself. You cannot do this Acrobat reader, yes. Try to hurry up. And this is something that Jonathan pointed me out. The ODF is standing on shoulder of giants. So while Microsoft Office, they were in a hurry, did a standard for every application, and they are different, like the tables all different, all applications of former Star Office, LibreOffice, are reusing the same ODF basically, and they are reusing also the standards of SVG, CSS, and not inventing an own stuff, right? So it's just far better. Okay, so much for marketing. Now, the possible future of ODF, and this is something I just discussed here, and it's my hard aspect, but still evolving, let's say this way. So, what I want to do, it's not ODF alone, because I realized that most of the new features that we get is compatibility feature. They see, oh, there's something our customer has in Microsoft Office and we like to round trip it. It's get lost. We load it, but we cannot save it. Yes, we need this feature like data is a liquid and you switch it in different glasses and the glass must be big enough, otherwise it spills out, it's lost. Yes, so we need to have this, to have this round trip. And the other thing is, yeah, and it's an expectation. We should take care of it. And I wonder, why can't we have a, when are we done? What are missing? I do not know this. So the idea was, how about if we take care of these features? And first of all, currently we have only one file format. It's a shock frozen final total status. What about if we make it more granular, like divide the complexity? You used to say, how do you eat an elephant, spoon by spoon? You have to make it smaller. And the feature is everything that a user in general can add and delete. Add and delete at the character, but also a table, an image, and there might be other things. And there are also relationships, like you cannot have a background color of a cell without having the table first. Okay, you might call it a property or sub-feature naming, okay? But I'm interested in these big features. And the funny thing is, you will find such a feature like a table in not only in OXML, but in DocBook, in HTML, in all the formats, even Markdown got it, okay? And you want to do the same interactions like inserting a column in all these formats, yes? So why don't we go to an abstraction layer, say, hey, here's a table, and I want to know, where can I find this in these documents, in the XML? And the best way to do is to look at the grammar, because the grammar is, as a state, defining every possible document, okay? And currently we have no explicit declaration. We just have the XML in the ODF format, but we don't say this is the feature of a table. And the funny thing is, it's like the feature you can find in an application, but also in the file format, yes? So, and usually when I work with Sun, the product manager came, I need a new feature in the XML feature, in XML filter, do this and that, do that. And my boss came, when are you ready? What is missing? And I have no clue, right? And the correct answer was, take a look at the grammar, because if I've covered the full grammar, then I'm done, right? But earlier I don't know. So I know now the answer to my manager 20 years later. Okay, anyway. So, look, this is how it looks like, and it's very similar. A paragraph is I think word P, word range, it's text bounds, text range, style names, paragraph properties, right? So, we have this invoice as well. In the invoice from Europe, we have one semantic and two different XMLs. And my job was, for the past year, to write this invoice number can be found here in the XML, the XPath, right? It's just like a mapping, a dictionary of how do you find semantic. The wonderful thing is they have a common semantic, and semantic is a difficult thing. You also, my favorite example is vegetarian sandwich in Germany is just without fish and meat. But if you go to Spain, without, yes. But in Spain, you have a tuna sandwich, often as a vegetarian sandwich, and you might be quite surprised when you have your vegetarian sandwich with tuna. So you always have to ask in the context, is this a section? Is it a section in OXML, or is it a section in ODF? We have both things, but one of them can be nested, okay? So, and we all know this, but it's not written somewhere. It cannot be, it's in our minds, in the source code, but definitely not in the specification at the moment. And I like to enrich it. So how about marking this XML in this semantics, this meaning, and how to start that? And I had the idea, okay, why? Because we need to understand these features, and I need to have this written once, and I like to have it declarative, because I hate to write all these OXML filters by hand, because after I did this ODF to HTML filter, my boss came, oh, we now want to have a web office with editing. We don't need a view any longer. Now start again, do everything in Java. I said, oh gosh, I do everything in Java, yeah? And it's horrible. So why don't we say this belongs, so text P belongs to W, P, and then do the transformation itself in Rust and C++. It might be, you should be able to, or XLT, you might be able to translate or to generate a transformation code, yes? So, and this is the code, we need something more advanced than this stone. You don't, if you might know this, this is the stone that deciphered the hieroglyphs from Egypt. And it was about 200 before Christ, and it's a king's decree, is it? Yes? So it's ancient Greek and administrative hieroglyphs, Egypt, right? And they didn't know to understand the upper hieroglyphs, but as they found the stone, I guess it was Napoleon's army, they were able to translate it. They had first the semantic, yes. And we have a better thing than the stone, because we have the status quo in the application, yes, and in the source code, of course. We can simply load this hello world document and then save it in the other format. Most of the mapping exists, but it's not defined yet. So let me okay. I will show later. So our definition is done. Of course, I want to do this docx to the ODF round tip, and I want to tell either the customer, well, I search in whole, I pass whole this docx, and then I said, oh, I find a feature X. X is not implemented in ODF, but we can run like you align something to the page number, but we can load it and align to the alignment automation to a paragraph. So we can fix this. We have a workaround, yes, an automatic. So we should be open-eyed to the problems, and instead of running into disaster blind. Okay. So a few things. I'm not sure if this belongs to ODF, or it would be, the best would be if ECMA would add and define the feature as well, the same way like we do, and we talk to each other, but it's difficult. And the other thing is, instead of writing directly syntax to syntax, we might have an intermediate semantic, a name that we like I did for the invoice, like we say paragraph, and then we align it to the XML. But as I said, it's just a vague idea, but I feel this very hard urge to fix it. And just an example. So hello world is, I saw you earlier, the content XML of, okay, this is the document format of ODT, and this, a different file format, different structure, is now the docx, even as well as it. And if I open that one, first one, again, the ODF, and then the OXML. And you see it's a bit different. It's hello world, and the italic is inline. It's an E, and here's the bold, all right? But it's just like different language that needs to be translated, and you need to have a more advanced stone. All right. Okay, so homework, or 3 nuts for the curious minds, I said. So on your flight home, I would like you, please, because I'm not able to do this on my own, and I'm not even, if I've got the time, and because I have to earn money, and I'm not sure, there's no funding from TDF, and I'm not sure. So, but I feel, at first I want to show the problem, right? And I would like to give you, I like your help, assistance. So how about that we automatically create test documents? Because I said every user can add the features from the GUI, right? So we might have like a power tool for Microsoft. There's abilities or a test tool that we click on this and generate every feature. And we say, oh, there's a table column, and then by automation we see that. And then we look at the XML that's been generated and compare, is everything of this XML on the test document also in the grammar? Yes, or is there a missing spot? Is there a white spot? Something that is not in the test document, but there, and then we might say, why is this attribute never generated? Why is it there? Where does it belong? Okay, and This is what I did for Open Exchange. I did a feature once tested it in ODF, LibreOffice, and ODF in Microsoft Office, because sometimes the same feature is done differently. Like a subtitle of an image was totally different in Microsoft does, but you should be able to load and save it back, to round trip it, yes? So there's a devil in detail, and we must do it by automation, otherwise you get insane. And the next thing is, of course, well, that's already said. Every this feature must be added to aligned to one grammar, yes? And a feature is like a table, just a subtree, yes, because the grammar is a tree itself. And if we have one grammar aligned with a feature, then you have to align both grammars and see, hey, or compare them. Is there something that's only in ODF or something that's only in docx? Okay? Yeah, that's it. Easy, right? Okay, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's the devil is certainly in the document, in the detail in the document as well. And we want to have digitalization. We want to have automation. And I think if we define this feature, this puzzle pieces, in a declarative way, we are able to transform efficiently one file format into the other. Yes, not manually again, but once declared, open for everyone, and then we can generate something in Rust, in Java, TypeScript, whatever you like, Python, yes. But we don't, I write it myself, you write it yourself, you don't have this feature, I got this feature. It's a nightmare, it's a Tower of Babylon, and we should fix this in an automatic way. And the other thing is, usually you just, and nowadays you just load the document and maybe you get it in a JSON API. All the data is sorted. You don't care about the XML and this whole thing. You just want to have the data extracted. Yes, I'm not sure how this looks like, but again, it's about extracting data. And of course, you want to extract it on the semantic level. Oh, give me all the tables, you ask, and not give me all the table, all the text, whatever, syntax, okay? You want to go to human level when you access it on the API. So, but as I said, it's just an idea evolving, and please discuss it, and please come back, because I think we have to do something that way, yes, to evolve it, to, yeah, make it bigger. That's it. Thank you.